Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair Fye. Ranking Member Lowe, members of the committee, I'm delighted to be with y'all here today. For the record, my name is Greg Nance, and I proudly represent Kitsap. I'm here today to introduce House Bill 1923, the Mosquito Fleet Act, and share how we can restore reliable ferry service and get boats back on the water faster and cheaper. We can use lessons from Puget Sound's maritime history and heritage to guide us to a healthier, more prosperous, and more connected future. I bring this bill forward as a lifelong ferry rider. Some of my favorite boyhood memories are riding the ferry to go watch Ken Griffey Jr. and the Mariners play at the Kingdom. And for my dad, for 32 years, he was a daily commuter. That's how he put bread on the table, and he sent 3 kids to college. Over those 32 years, he could count the number of canceled sailings on one hand. Those ferry rides to the city are how my dad provided for us, but that's not unique to my family. Hundreds of thousands of Washingtonians count on our ferries as for economic opportunity. They count on our ferries for educational pathways, and they count on our ferries for a healthcare lifeline. As you know, we are entering year 6 of WSF service cuts and cancellations. And folks both in Kitsap and around Puget Sound are missing work, missing school, and missing medical appointments. Small businesses are shuttering, and folks are missing rent, and they're missing mortgage payments as a result. To be clear, our Washington State Ferries crew is working around the clock, doing everything they can to get boats back in service. Master machinist Chris Draper, terminal attendant Randy Zellers, and others do remarkable work as the backbone of our fleet. And we as a legislature, we are trying to do everything we can to support them. We should continue in that. But we've also got to find ways to move as fast as we can. As Governor Ferguson has said, when we're facing a crisis, we've got to act like it. And we can meet this crisis with the focused urgency that it demands. The legislation before us, the Mosquito Fleet Act, is the fastest and cheapest way to put new boats on the water, to provide relief to neighbors in need, to bolster our maritime workforce, and to prepare Washington for the World Cup stage at the upcoming FIFA World Cup. Neighbors in Kitsap have seen the benefits of passenger-only ferries. With our Kitsap Transit Fast Ferries, when our Kingston Edmonds and Bremerton Seattle runs were cut to one boat service for several years, we had passenger-only ferries that could step up. This legislation would authorize the creation of passenger-only routes across Puget Sound and across the state. Our aim is to help neighbors all across, whether that's in the San Juans, in Whidbey, Vashon, Tacoma, Seattle. And this legislation also opens the aperture beyond just Puget Sound. We think passenger-only ferries can benefit neighbors in Grays Harbor, connecting Ocean Shores and Westport, or neighbors along Lake Washington, connecting Bellevue and the University of Washington, or along the Columbia River, helping to connect folks from Vancouver and then tourists in Portland to some of the attractions, wineries and otherwise along the Columbia River. This helps us respond to this moment in the most expeditious and cost-effective manner. I want to thank the 749 individuals and organizations who signed in pro and the 5 individuals who signed in con and gave me very helpful feedback to improve the legislation. We'll hear today personal stories about the impacts of ferry disruption from small business owners, downtown and chamber professionals, nurses and healthcare professionals, school board directors, concerned parents and grandparents, firefighters and emergency response planners, bicycle advocates, environmentalists, city council members and mayors, port commissioners, county commissioners, and labor leaders. And we'll hear the difference that reliable ferry service can make for our communities in need, and how investing in passenger-only ferries can put boats back on the water faster and cheaper, taking lessons from our maritime history and heritage to build a more connected, healthier, and prosperous future for all of us. Together, we can fix our ferries. And with that, I'd be honored to answer any questions.
Okay, are there any questions by members of the committee? Representative Birnbaum.
Thank you, Representative Nance. And I really appreciate the amount of work that you've put into developing this bill, the tremendous amount of stakeholdering that you've done, and I'm optimistic about seeing it move forward. Representing a community that touches a lot of waterways, I have constituents who always have concerns from a conservation perspective when you put a new vessel on a waterway, when you put a new vessel on the water. Could you speak a little bit to the environmental impacts of the types of vessels that we might see being introduced under this bill relative to the existing fleet, in particular in contrast to the passenger and vehicle-only ferries that are both of our communities currently use?
Yeah, Vice Chair Birnbaum, appreciate both the question and all your advice as we prepared this as well. The question and concern that you relay is one that I've actually heard from a number of our neighbors around Puget Sound. I share the concern. We don't want to create a strategy that further imperils our endangered orca. That is not the intention here. Fortunately, I've been able to learn more about some of the new developments and everything from tracking of our wonderful, majestic orca so that we can ensure that we're doing everything we can. One amendment that I will be offering on my own legislation here is to ensure that this is not some loophole for groups to get around whale watching requirements and the distances required. In the future, we also hope to bring on new technologies ranging from more hydrodynamic hulls that create less noise disruption, new propeller technology which does the same, and those can help mitigate some of those potential negative impacts. I've got several really smart notices of opposition and look forward to working with those folks to improve this as we go. Thank you.
Are there further questions? So, Representative Nance, the last time you introduced a bill, I asked you questions and you got an A+ rating. Right? So not to jinx you, but I do have a few questions in order of difficulty, with the easiest question first. Has a ferry ever sunk?
Yes, we have lost ferries, including in our old Mosquito Fleet days. That's one big reason why we have a number of our safety provisions in place today.
Okay, that's good.
The biggest tragedy was off Point Blakely on Bainbridge Island. I think something like 700 souls went down in a fog in November of late 1880s, maybe, right before statehood, if I'm not mistaken.
Always do your homework. Where is the Mosquito Fleet Winery located?
Ooh. I'm going to throw it out here. Point Ruston with a beautiful overlook in the 27th District.
Do you want to call a friend like Representative Griffey?
Representative Griffey, can you help me out here?
It's in the 35th District in Shelton.
Fantastic. Great. Also do a field trip.
So that was fine.
50%, I'll take the F and go home.
So this might be before your time, but there was a movie in 1986. It was called The Mosquito Coast. Do you know who was the lead actor in that movie?
I'm going to go with Joaquin Phoenix.
Which
I thought is what Rep. Dewar was mouthing to me, but perhaps
call
not.
Call on Representative Paul to help you.
Yes, Representative Paul.
Indiana Jones, actor.
Okay. Harrison Ford. Who is Harrison Ford?
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you for putting up with me.
And I want to close with a thank you to Chair Fye, Ranking Member Barkis, Rep. Paul, Rep. Rammel. Y'all have done great work on this long before I joined the legislature, and I really do appreciate the foundation that we have. WSF is improving every day thanks to the hard work of this committee over the years, and my hope is for us to think outside the box and move faster. So I appreciate it.
Let's see. Representative Reed, did you have a pretend question or a real question?
I did have a real question, Mr. Chair. I am laser focused on the work of the people of the state of Washington. But I would never suggest otherwise. But I will withhold my question and wait to hear from testifiers.